So, when you first approached the assignment to direct and adapt a nearly 60-year-old musical, what was most daunting to you? And were you able to find the key to unlocking this adaptation and your vision of what Hair was?
I mean, I think what was most daunting was that it has such a rich history. And like not only as a depiction of what the counterculture was at the time and
Right,
how immediate it was at the time,
right.
but also like what it did for the musical theater canon and what it did for musical theater like as a genre of storytelling.
Hmm.
So I think like the grandness of it is something that was daunting to approach, but I don't know if it was the key, but a key to kind of what made it really like present in the room was being like, okay, there is this big history of this show that people kind of feel and you feel when you do the show. So let's just today focus on the people in the room, like honoring and in response to that history.
Hmm.
Because we can't perform the history. We can't
Right.
I wasn't there, unfortunately, so I don't know what it was like to be in the counterculture in the 60s or feel what this show was like in the 60s, but I can like honor where this tradition came from. And respond to the material with the brilliant casting crew that we had.
Very nice. The choreography is otherworldly. I don't know at what point in the second act it completely felt like a rocket ship, but it made me literally say to my seatmate in an exciting and positive way, what the F was that? Except I used the other word. Who are your influence and how did your vision translate into creating those one-of-a-kind movements for the young cast?
Whoa. Um, okay, the first person that comes to mind is
Hmm.
this choreographer named Hofesh Schechner.
Hmm.
In like a lot of I think he's rooted in Gaga, which is, the very like I'm gonna butcher it for all the dancers out there. But it's like a very personal like feelings based way of making choreography. It's not
Hmm.
asking people to make specific shapes or like build specific formations, but it's asking people to like respond to emotion and respond to ideas and respond to indications in their own body. In like I'm so inspired by choreographers of that mindset, because then you're like looking at the people in the room and saying, okay, I think we're all sort of feeling this thing. I think this is all sort of our groove, but express it like in your body. Express it how you think it is. Don't try to like match someone else.
Hmm.
And again, I think that that's like the core of hair. Is it
Yeah.
saying we're all feeling this same collective thing, but like I'm expressing it a little different than the person next to me, and that's like where the beauty comes from.
Ah, brilliantly done, man. Brilliantly done.
Thank you so much.
Many of the songs are standards in, dare I say, the Great American Songbook. Which song is your favorite, and or which one was easiest to create a certain energy within either the choreography or the emotion of the piece?
Yeah. I have like there's so many like rockin' favorites, but but I think that Walking in Space
Ah,
is
beautiful.
it's like some of the most like trippy insane music in the show, and where it lands in the piece as a whole I think is what you're saying is the moment that it needs to just like skyrocket us to another dimension. And in the way that they have written that song, you have no choice but to like
Yeah,
blast off.
yeah, yeah. Great. Um, of course, you cleverly dealt with the very un-PC song Colored Spade. Was that a recommendation based on a dramaturge, or did you come up with that extremely interesting de-escalation of the song yourself? Uh,
Is that are you in reference to the big
yeah,
curtain?
yes. Hmm.
Okay, so like we worked with this incredible um uh cultural consultant named Chels Morgan.
Okay.
And they're amazing and just did a lot of great work in just opening up the ideas of the play and the things that feel sticky. Did a ton of talking with Josh, who plays HUD, and just about like what the song wants to be, this like huge reclamation and like punk intervention into the space. And then, so like taking those ideas, when I was doing my research kind of in this song, I was like, oh, we know it wants to be like punk, we know it wants to be satirical. And it's actually a reference to a Kendrick Lamar performance at the Grammys in like 2012 maybe. Kendrick Lamar uses like flashing "This is a satire" by Kendrick Lamar in the middle of his piece, and
Mhm.
I saw it and I was like, "Oh my God, like this is if HUD were to be played by like a celebrity, it would be Kendrick Lamar. Like it would be this like great cultural poet today.
Mhm.
So it just felt nice to like honor him in this show.
Congratulations. It really was a beautiful de-escalation, I thought.
Thank you.
Of course, the nude scene, which I felt was unnecessary and probably a product of the contemporary version, was cut. Is there any consideration for it anymore in versions, or is this your sensitivity to the current interpretation that you made?
I mean, that's such a good question. We talked about it the whole time. And of course, like, and as you know, eh, it's kind of the first thing that people talk about is I tell people I'm doing hair and they're like, "Oh, everyone has an opinion about it."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's correct. And what was lovely is I was like, "Oh, so this moment is charged. Everyone wants something from this moment."
Mhm.
And then we got to go, are we going to give it to them? Are we going to subvert expectations? So to your question, I do think there's merit in doing it. Like I believe that it is like this beautiful statement of like freedom in
Mhm.
expression,
Mhm.
in liberation,
Mhm.
which I think is so correct in the context of the show. However, as we were building it, it was just like we're building this protest and
Right,
that was also a form of protest, like
right.
protest through liberation. And as we built this like contemporary look on the show, we kind of came to the conclusion of I don't see people protesting like that right now. And then we started asking, we're like, well, what does it mean for us to protest? What type of protest would energetically feel similar to what they were doing in the 60s, but
Uh,
not literally be what they were doing in the 60s? So then
Interesting.
we were like, it's actually about the protection of identity and like putting on materials to cover up identifiers like your tattoos or your piercings, and then moving as a group to like say something that you all want to say. And like that was a sense of liberation for the tribe, was this idea of like, I'm actually covering my individuality and joining the group after we've seen everyone be individuals throughout the whole show and will continue to do so.
This is a two-part question. You promote modern issues in the play without, I presume, changing a word of the 68 book. Are there alterations for a modern audience? And then the second part, in that sense, where did it become clear that you could make a statement by surreally evoking our modern ethos without
Mhm.
damaging the time and place of the stage play book?
Yeah. So we made no
I
changes
didn't
to
think so.
any
I didn't
text,
think so.
which
Yeah.
which I think is like the beautiful trick of live theater, is in like the audience imagination and in like the creative's imagination,
Mhm.
is that you can do these like little suggestions in the way that people are moving through the space and what they're wearing to
Right.
like pull us closer. So like no text was changed. Um and I think that became the fun challenge, is like, okay, so if we can't legally change any words of this thing, but we want it to like sing in 2026,
Right.
what are those like little costume changes that we can do? What are the movements that we can do to pull us closer and closer to today until until we like really go there at the end of Act 1 and we go, "Oh, okay, here we are."
Right.
But hopefully it's like a subtle trickle until you get to the end of Act 1, when we get to like bring up the modern issues and send people off into the conversation of the set for 15 minutes.
Right. Right.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the film version, which, like myself, was many folks' entrances into the Hare legend. It's much more narrative than the sketch quilt that makes up the book of the play. What contribution, if any, in your opinion, does the movie make to the stage play, and inversely, the play now makes to the film?
I mean, I can speak personally,
Hmm.
cause after watching the movie, I think it gave us a lot of like permission and encouragement
Nice.
to um to bring out some more linear storylines. In the music director Kara Olander and I talked a lot about the movie because she really felt like the movie expressed the individuality of the characters more than the play does.
Right.
And she was obsessed with this idea that we really get to know the people in these roles, not just as like caricatures, but like in the movie, you really get a sense of who they are and what their relations
Good
are.
point. Yeah.
So her and I worked a lot on like highlighting the principal cast vocally throughout the piece and not just isolated into their solos. So you see Sheila become more of a leader. You see Jeannie like pull these roles to make her closer to Dion. And I think that's what the movie did, at least for our production, was be
Sure.
like, oh my God, there's permission to like pull the characters closer to each other.
What was the greatest hurdle the Gen Z and Gen Alpha cast had to overcome to understand the zeitgeist of a 1968 setting? Has there been any profound realizations within the cast that you think allowed them to understand something that they didn't before?
I think that, okay, I think. This is how I feel. This is what I observed. I know
Sure.
none of this to be truth.
Okay.
But it feels like the 60s was offering something that was so communal and so immediately loving and like, because that's what the culture seemed to feel like,
Right.
is like immediately we are all one. It
Hmm.
is all love.
Hmm.
In the hurdle that it felt like for us was, let's build the individuality, and then because it feels like that's our entry point, is like who am I in this world, like
Hmm.
how do I want to express myself, what are my ideals.
Hmm.
And then the hurdle was, now that I've like expressed myself individually, we have to then jump and say, we might not see eye to eye individually, but I can still love you as a whole. We can still come together. And that was like, I think what breathes a lot of contemporary life into this production is,
Hmm.
it's like Claude doesn't walk in and everyone is like, oh, I love Claude. And Burger
Hmm.
doesn't stand up and everyone's like, oh my God, I love Burger.
Yeah.
It like takes a second for everyone to position themselves as an individual in a collective. So it felt like two steps, but still learning from what I think is genius about the 60s counterculture movement, is that like it is about the collective and it is about we are all one and we need to love each other. But Gen Z, Gen Alpha, younger generation is like, I can do that and still represent myself as an individual.
Sure. Finally, how has the deep dive into the legend, song, movement, and heart of hair changed you as a creator? What do you believe you'll take from this experience that you will use going forward in your career?
Wow. Another beautiful question. I think I think the things that this show taught me personally is like how to be an advocate and how to stand by the tribe in a group of people and be like it just taught me how to care and support and advocate for them
Nice.
and be like when the kids, when the tribe, when your people are saying something, you have to not only listen but like do everything you can to like get them what they need and communicate and support in that way. And it's something that I've always felt, but this show through the material has taught me like it really comes back to your tribe. It comes back to your community. And both like
Nice.
in the making of the show, there are moments where you have to like stand up for the people on stage in as like a young-ish director like it it's building my muscle and being like oh I have say I have a place in this room and I can use it for advocacy and I can use it for support. But yes, that is like something that I'll take with me forever and I am like completely indebted to the cast for their like for their asking of that and for their support and trust in me to be like I trust that you have us in this process.
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2026.